Good evening to you all. Welcome to the West Ham Voice on a Friday late night. And the transfer window shut. And we've only got one player in. But we don't know whether we've got 3 or 4 players that have left the club because there are many different rumours. Even though I've said, thank fuck it's over, it's not actually over because there's still apparently deal sheets that have been submitted and deal sheets that have been received and God knows what else. So I guess, I've got a couple of guests that are coming on and we'll try and keep up with any latest updates. But from what I understand at this moment in time, we've only signed one player. And that, of course, is Carlos Soler on a 2-year deal. James Ward-Prowse has gone, of course. That deal has definitely been done and dusted. Kurt Zuma has signed a 2-year deal. And we still don't know how he managed to do it. But there you go. Kurt Zuma's gone as well. Naifa Gerd, a deal sheet's been handed in by Real Sociedad. And from what we understand, Naifa Gerd has cost us something like £20 million because he didn't want to go to any other club that wanted him. Maxwell Cornet, apparently a deal sheet has been entered by Southampton, but apparently there's some red tape there. And there's a chance that Maxwell Cornet may not leave West Ham United. And apparently there's a lot of confusion with regards to Reece Nelson. We ain't, and apparently we're not. And then he was going to go to Ipswich, and then he's not going to Ipswich. But I think we're not looking at Reece Nelson either. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring my guests on. We're going to talk about the transfer window in total, not just about today, because today has been a bit of a damp squib. But I think we kind of expected that. And see how my guests feel about the transfer window. And we're going to talk a little bit more about, some of the players that are in and what we expect moving forward with the arrival of Carlos Soler. So good evening to you, Dan. I hope you're well, mate.
Yeah, all good, mate.
Good evening, Ronnie. How are you, mate?
Hello. Good. Bit pissed, but
Ronnie's
good.
had a few drinks. The only drink I've had tonight, because I've been planning everything, is this.
You've been on the water. Okay.
Fucking water. But I'll make up for it tomorrow.
Dan,
I've
been out with Linda and Millwall Paul, right? And we've had a few.
Yeah. Should have brought him here to go on the show.
Well, I've been listening. I was trying to get Tony Hackett on, but I couldn't get in contact with him. Tony, if you're out there, text me, because it'd be lovely to have you on here, because we know you're mad.
Dan, how are you, mate?
Yeah, very well, mate. I thought we were going to get a bit more done today, but we would have been greedy, maybe. Windows been a good one.
Did you expect any more than Carlos Soler, in all honesty?
A Gerd going, I'd have liked us to sign a centre-back.
Yeah, I agree with that. We might be a little bit light at the back.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Ronnie? With both Zuma and a Gerd gone.
Well,
we think a Gerd's gone.
Has a Gerd actually gone yet?
Well, a deal sheet has been put in, so I'm guessing it means he's gone or going. Real Sociedad have agreed with 1.6 million loan deal. I mean, when you hear about some of the loan deals we've done, we've got virtually zero back for any of the players. Zero. But yeah, it sounds as if a Gerd's gone. So let's say, for argument's sake, he's gone. So
we won because Tadibo, from what I can see, is not ready yet. He's got about another month and a half before he's ready. But we got the the international break. I don't know if he gets called up, but we've got 1.5, a few weeks to get him ready. So I think we're still one defender short, but I think he'll get us through till January. Touch wood, we don't get no injuries. So I'm not gonna go too mad about that. I would have liked to have got another defender in. Obviously, we all would have liked to one, but if we haven't got one, we go what we got.
Yeah, Dan, what's your feelings? Do you think we might come unstuck at the back? Ronnie, did you say you reckon another month before Tadibo's match fit? Or
looking on, you was at Bournemouth. He looked a bit. He was blowing out his ass, wasn't he?
He was, though I praised him.
Yeah, he was decent, but you could see that he's not up to the pace yet. Yeah, I think he's got maybe. We'll see what happens, because he might. We might be able to do some magic and get him slightly more closer over the international break. I don't think he gets up. But he is he's a little bit off the pace. But
yeah, I agree with that. I agree. What about you, Dan? Do you think we're going to be worried for the next few weeks at the back?
You know me, still. It's always worst case scenario first, and it just for me, it's you let Zuma and a Gerd go, you don't get one in, and it just be the West Ham way that one of them goes down, another one goes down, and then you're in trouble, aren't you? And I know we've got Alvarez, Rodriguez, they can kind of play there, but it's not their position, is it? So it's we were told 2 more, weren't we? And we've got 1 more.
We were told 2 more, yeah.
So yeah.
Maybe
because the deals happened so late, we've not had that wriggle room. But
here's a question for you both, and this was put on, and I don't want to hark back to the old times, but I'm gonna. This time last summer, when we did all late deals, everyone was on the back of David Moore. Oh, fucking Moyes! It's only because of him, because we're doing late deals and this, that, and the other. Now, all right, we did the best part of our business. I've always said, the last week of the transfer window is tweaking. It's about getting rid of players and as like you, Dan, bringing in maybe 1 or 2 more players. Do we blame Tim Steidten for not getting a few deals over the line, not getting the players moved out quicker, or is it just the way it is?
Yeah, I think he's got to be praised for getting the bulk of the business done. Yeah, so we had the bulk ready for the season to kick off.
Exactly.
But the trouble we were always going to have were the outs, because none of them are actually that good. They're not worth the money we paid for them. They're not worth the wages we pay them. At the end of the day, we offered all these players far superior wages just to get them through the door.
Long contracts.
We've come massively unstuck as a result, because no one wants to pay the transfer fees, because they've got to think about the wages as well. This is the biggest problem with Danny Ings. He's on so much money that you can't give him away, because nobody can match that wage, and he's going to want close to that wage. So I think it's as a result of poor transfer business in the past has kind of cost us with the players going out.
Caught up with us, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, definitely, transfer business in the past has always cost us because we've been rubbish. Yeah. So I'm not going to run down Tim too much, because I think he's been not bad.
I was being tongue-in-cheek, to be honest.
One of the problems was that we couldn't move on. I mean, if Agard had decided to move on earlier, then we might have had that bit of room to maybe get someone in. Because it's like 11 o'clock and he's just decided, I'm going to Real Sociedad, or wherever he's going. That doesn't give you no time. And because we did spend quite early on some players, like maybe we could have probably maybe gone for later. I'm not going to say that, but it's a possibility. Maybe we would have looked at defenders and maybe looked a bit more foresighted to say, all right, we're going to get rid of Agard. We knew he was going to get rid of him. He wanted to go. We should have been looking at that defender. But I think there was we didn't know whether 1 minute we had a conversation. Is Agard going? Is Mavropanos going? You with me? Zuma's definitely going. So it was up in the air about who actually was going. So until you know who's going, how can you actually replace them?
Yeah,
it's all a bit late.
Yeah, this was the gamble, because we did so much business early on. We could have continued to be doing it, and then we would have become really unstuck if we didn't move any of the players on. And then we would have been really in trouble. I mean, I know people are saying, and it's probably, I don't know, I guess it's correct, that we still have the January window and we could have sorted out a bit of business. But by then, we're still paying player wages. We're still paying them wages for the next 4 or 5 months before we get to January. So there's that danger of all of a sudden we're putting maybe the January window in jeopardy, and maybe even next summer in jeopardy, because we're still paying these players. Now, let's go through them, because, who shall I start with? Well, let's start with the player that we got in, because only one, Carlos Soler. Now, this was interesting because we heard earlier, like throughout the whole transfer window, that, we were in for him. Oh, by the way, if you're all new to the channel, by the way, please hit the like button and become a subscriber. You know, all the content's free. Even our guests are free. So there you go. So come become a subscriber of the channel.
You just paying
Anyway,
me.
Carl, yeah. Oh shit! Did I not tell you you're doing it for nothing? Carlos Soler. So we were hearing that it was going to be a loan with an obligation to buy. We were hearing that it was going to be a 17 million pound deal. What it's turned out is we've got him on loan. Apparently, we haven't paid any money for him on the loan, but I'll get that clarified as soon as I can. And he signed a 2-year loan deal. I mean, that's good, no?
That is absolutely fantastic. Because number one, we've got him for 2 years. He's got time to acclimatize himself. I don't know. Is it obligation to buy after 2 years?
Apparently not. Apparently not.
Well,
we managed to get the obligation and the option to buy out. Then this is this interesting thing with all our deals that have gone through tonight. The players come in and players gone out. No obligations to buy with anyone. No options to buy. They're just loans. They're just loans. This is really unheard of. You know, it's really quite bizarre that we've managed to do the same with PSG as the other clubs have done with us. So this is not an option to buy or an obligation to buy. It's just a 2-year loan.
Yeah,
I'm
but
sure there must be money involved.
All right, 2 years. 2 years is good. Yeah, if we're going to keep him and we're going to nurture him and have him part of our team, we've got to be very careful about loan deals because if they're short term, the good thing about it, and this is it that good? If we don't make Europe, we tear the book up. They go. Yeah. If we do make Europe, we keep them. So. Yeah, I suppose it's good. Loan deals are good.
For me, it's all about driving the fee down. If you get him for 2 years, it doesn't matter how well he does. That's 2 years off his contract at PSG. Yeah, so it will inevitably, although you're still going to have to pay good money. I don't know how long his contract is at PSG. You know, so within them 2 years, he could run into the last year of his contract. So
yeah, his contract at PSG was 2027.
That's the point. Yeah.
So if you got him for 2 years, 26, so you'd be in the last year. So then that drives the fee down, doesn't it? It could be a very clever astute loan signing.
Yeah, absolutely.
If he kicks off and he's like fantastic, which there's a chance that he might be fantastic because let's be honest, he's a decent player.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do.
Acclimatize himself to the Premiership.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do because a lot of fans have been saying, why are we getting this player who's been a failure at PSG? But Dan, we spoke about this earlier, and thank you for the links, by the way. And I've got to commend Hammer's Hub for this. Fantastic stats and all that. Now, Dan, I mean, you're probably better off talking through this than I am, if that's all right.
Yeah,
because Hammer's Hub are, they've done an analysis on Carlos Soler and Thomas Souček, and they've done an analysis on Carlos Soler and James Ward-Prowse. And Soler comes out pretty bloody good, doesn't he?
Yeah,
even though he hasn't had much game time at PSG.
And this is only based on last season. So, he's basically it's Souček's heat map, JWP's heat map over the course of the season. You look around the wheel, it just tells you all the key things they did that year. So when you looking this, and this is as well, this highlights just how ineffective Souček is other than in the box. Like this really highlights just that he isn't a very good technically gifted player, unfortunately. For all the good he does in the box, he just doesn't do much else. He's on top of interceptions, but that's to be expected in a Moyes low block system. Fouls committed and just slightly more goals, which is a big surprise because Soler didn't have his best goal return last year. But when you look at the rest, Soler so far clear of the player that Souček is. And this is the centre mid. I think now we're crying out for under the Lopetegui system. We need that player that's going to link defence and the rest of midfield and midfield to attack. And when you look at these numbers and when you'll see the JWP one as well, Ward-Prowse only really comes out on top on the stuff you would expect him to. Again, he comes out on top of interceptions because obviously that low block system. Goals he's equal on, but it's just crosses and assists. He's just slightly ahead, but you would expect that from a dead ball specialist in Ward-Prowse. But the rest, you can see Soler is just a much more complete player, basically.
Yeah, and for people that might not be able to see that very clearly, the blue is Soler, and the red is Ward-Prowse, and just like the last one for Souček, I mean, people,
it's crazy.
It's not a very good stat for
Souček. Stop.
that just basically confirms what everyone believes in Souček. It's like, fucking hell, mate. You know, but we're getting a complete midfielder, aren't we?
Yeah, essentially, you know, and he's better.
Yes. Yeah, sorry.
No, you're right. He's a better centre mid than he is an attacking player as well. So he will link that. He will link the midfield, which is, you know, that's exactly what we need.
Is he going to do any disruption in between? Because at the moment, it looks like we're playing Souček as a disruptor, and he's there just to be disrupting things. Where would we play Soler? I mean, obviously, James Ward-Prowse was decent. He's better than James Ward-Prowse in a lot of situations. But where would we play him?
He plays in Souček's position.
Yeah,
you don't need Souček. You don't need Souček in there, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I've got a funny feeling we're going to be playing two.
He'll be like a number 10 or like a number 8.
Yeah, he'll be an 8.
Yeah. So we're going to see.
So
Ronnie, I spoke to you before.
Paqueta.
Well, yes. I mean, no. Actually, in my mind, what I've said when we were linked to Soler was, for me, if there's a player that's got to be careful about his position and make sure he delivers, it's going to be Paqueta. Because Paqueta plays deeper. Let's not forget that he prefers to play deeper. You know, even though he's not the best tackler of the ball, etc. But because he prefers to have time, doesn't he? You know, take the ball and look up and all that sort of stuff. Well, he's gone, Ronnie. He'll be back. But Paqueta can play the sort of like the more forward role. But when it comes to Soler is. He's just boxed. I mean, he's not the typical box to box, but he's almost like that, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, if you compare him to Fofana, he's not a Fofana.
No, definitely not. But then Fofana's defensive side of the game is probably a bit stronger than his attacking side. But I see. For me, I just don't. I don't think we need to be playing two defensive midfielders most weeks. Maybe this weekend, it's a game that screams out for it. Yeah,
this weekend, without a shadow of a doubt.
Playing Man City,
I would play 6 midfield.
But for me, at the weekend, I'd be playing a double pivot of Alvarez and Rodriguez if Alvarez is fit enough, you know, and then you play Paqueta and whoever in front. But in most games, I think we can afford to get away with it a bit now, with obviously with the freedom that we've got under Lopetegui. And the thing I've noticed in those first few games as well is that we've ignored the midfield because we haven't got that technically gifted player in there. As well is that we've ignored the midfield because we haven't got that technically
Ronnie,
gifted
are you playing that in the background, mate?
No, what's happening? I don't know what's happening there, but I cut out and I got kicked out. So am I back in now? Yeah,
You're back in.
Excellent. Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, so we were like Dan was saying, like there are games that we're not going to need to play two defensive midfielders. So when it comes to positions, etc., you can see Paqueta playing maybe alongside Alvarez, and then Soler in front. So you can have and then you got Kudus and you got Bowen. You can have a very, very creative midfield, aren't you? Against some teams, you know, we should be able to walk through. I don't want to sort of be cocky, but we you know, with those kind of players on the pitch, we should be able to sort of glide through teams, shouldn't we?
You want to think so, but I'm not going to base anything until it's going to take us a little time to get acclimatized to what we actually have to do. If we look at what we've been doing so far, we've not really been playing how we envisaged we were going to play. So even when we bring this new guy in at the moment, the reason that Souček has been pivotal to how we've been playing, so we've been playing long ball. You with me? So How long is it going to take us to put this style down? All right, Solé undoubtedly is a great player, right? And he's an improvement on Ward-Prowse. He's an improvement on Souček. But at the moment, because the system isn't really been made, is he going to walk straight in and improve us?
The thing is, I think we are playing long ball at the minute because we don't have the midfield. I've watched the first 3 games, and obviously, I don't like being negative about Souček because there's this running theme in the fan base at the minute that you're not allowed to say anything bad about him because he scores goals. But at the end of the day, he isn't a technically gifted player. You know, when he receives ball to feet, he doesn't look up. He's like he's confused. It's like he doesn't know how he's made it to be a professional footballer. But he gets in the box, he comes alive. But anywhere but there, he is very limited. And I think so. We've had to bypass the midfield. Whereas I think you bring someone in like this. For me, we personally should have been playing Paqueta in the 8. That's what I think we should have been doing. But obviously, Lopetegui is taking his time with some of the new signings, which is, you know, he
is taking his time. He is, and the thing about it is, if you look at Souček, now I'm not going to criticize Souček at all because he's doing business, but it seems like we're playing to Souček's strength rather than playing to how we should be playing. Because at the moment, if Souček gets the ball, he's going to play it back. He's going to play it to the side. He's not going to drive forward, is he? He's not going to drive forward and attack, which Soulé probably would. Paqueta would, definitely. Yeah. Even definitely Mohamed Kudus, if he was in that place, would. He's not going to do that. So is he actually restricting us? But what he is doing is he's getting in the box when that long ball's happening. In fact, I was talking to Stel earlier on, and I think that Souček is being played in that way because I've got a really horrible feeling that Fullkrug is going to be playing the Souček role in that he's going to get the ball lumped up to him. But he can turn. This is the difference between him and Souček. So maybe we're getting one of our styles, because we're going to have many, in place for when we actually, it's the transition, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we're going to be playing many styles. So we might be playing the long ball because we can't get out and have someone having it. But at the moment, Souček is just going to knock it back, whereas Fullkrug might turn and play it wide, left or right. Yeah. So maybe we're getting that system in place, but then that doesn't mean we're not going to be playing that controlling ball where we've got the midfielder running with the ball forward and taking it forward from the midfield from a deep position into a higher position to be knocked back and then played wide, if you understand what I mean. Yeah. So maybe he's playing Souček there to get that system as part of the main system, which is going to be flexible and fluent, possibly.
Yeah, good points. I mean, you know, I think what Solé is going to give us, and I said this to you earlier, Ronnie, is that when we have to play direct football, you might see players like Solé on the bench, you know, and and you play a more direct style with the likes of Souček in the team. And when we believe that we can play through a team, you're going to see the likes of Solé, Paqueta, Kudus, etc. They're all going to be on the pitch at the same time, you know, playing tippy-tappy football to each other. I think this gives us the option. I think this gives us the option that we've got that ability now to be able to change. What's the thing that everybody complained about with David Moyes was it was one-dimensional. Yeah. You know, there wasn't anything different. You know, you had the same players, and when you had a player come on and a player was subbed, a player coming on for a player that was subbed, etc., all that was happening was they just fitted into the same system, same format. You know, you had a left-sided player playing a left-sided player, etc., etc. What we've got now is different game plans throughout the game. You might see different formations and different 2 or 3 different formations, 2 or 3 different styles of play in the same game. You know, so you might start with the Solé and the Paqueta and the Kudus and all that. And if it ain't working, you're going to throw on your Součeks and go, right, just play it diagonal.
Well, let's be honest, like a really good example of this is that Lopetegui did more tactically against Aston Villa than Moyes had done in the last year. Like he changed the system. He made subs early. You know, he was brave enough to like have a go. All right, we lost the game, but you know, I've said to anyone that will listen, I was more entertained watching that game, even in a 2-1 defeat, than I was most of last season. You know, so because the manager was brave enough to change things up, have a go, you know, and it did against Palace. The changes really won us the game against Palace. You know, bringing Wan-Bissaka on, you know, was inspired because he just gave us something extra down that right hand side. So, you know, I think it's going to be baby steps. It is going to be slow. You know, I think we are playing a system that is maybe slightly different to what I expected at the minute. There's a few more long balls, but Loppe is known for his diags. He does love those those diagonal passes to open up defenses and bypass midfields when he needs to. I think what the West Ham fan base is going to notice the most under this manager is it's going to be different every week. He's going to be watching each opposition, and he's going to be trying to break them down and expose their weaknesses, rather than just going in with the same 11 with the same game plan and hoping that we win the game.
Yeah,
he might play a low block one week. We might see.
Yeah, he might. Yeah, he might.
We might see. Exactly. We might see some. Listen, Bournemouth was Moyes ball. I don't care what anyone says. Yeah, it was a version of Moyes ball. So we might see some Moyes ball. But at least as a fan base, we can say that we're seeing different stuff. We could have a moan, but if we're seeing different stuff every week and we're seeing loads of different things being planned, eventually, if you look down the road, if you're changing things a lot up and you're playing different styles, eventually your team has a style of different styles within a game. And this is what does other opponents, because then they have to adjust to what you're adjusting to. Instead of us adjusting and just staying behind the ball, right, and trying to get the team on a break, which we can still do, we're looking at different ways of breaking that team down. And if we've got the more ways we've got of breaking that team down, the more ways that the team gets used to breaking teams down, the more that we become a complete team who has lots of different ways within one match of breaking a team down without even making all the changes, or without we're making minimal changes. And this is where we really want to get to. And then when we get to that, then we say, all right, we've got our style. Our style is flexible. We change around, but these are the kind of things that we do. At the moment, we don't know what we do we? We're getting to work out what we do.
We're finding our feet.
So we have to be, as a fan base, we have to be very flexible, and we can't be too critical. I mean, I said I'm going to give it 9 games. 9 points in 9 games to me is good, right, to begin with, right? And we've won a match. So we could be looking, when we bash Man City at the weekend.
No, we won't. No, we won't. You wait and see. Wait and see. But I'll tell you what I'm worried about when you talk about the Man City game. I'm worried we ain't got this man at the back tomorrow.
Listen, it'd be good if we're doing a low block. To be honest with you, I'm not gonna run him down, because what I'll say to you, he's giving us a good lot of service. Yeah, I'm not gonna say what I said at the start of the term about him not being able to move his legs and people running past him. But in a low block system, when you're just sitting in the penalty area, he'll probably get his legs out. He'll probably do that. But if you're pushing forward, he shouldn't be nowhere near us. If you're going to be doing a mid block, he should be knowing it. That's what Chelsea got rid of him for, because they changed their system.
Yeah.
So
he got slated. And I'll be honest, I was one that slated him a lot because I just thought he was finished some time ago. I mean, he's done well to get a 2-year deal at any other club, hasn't he, really?
I don't know how he passed the medical. Honestly, don't know how he's passed that medical. It's got to be some dodgy goings on.
Is he on a pay as you play or something?
No, mate. It's, I mean, what the deal basically is, he's got 1 year left on his West Ham contract. We are subsidising his salary for that first year. Sean Whetstone suggested it could be up to 50%. And then when I asked him again, he was a bit coy as to the percentage. So it could be anything up to 50%. He's on 100 grand a week. So basically, his new club, Al Aruba, are going to pay him something like 50 grand a week for the first season. And then he's managed to attach another year on top of that And then,
Obligation?
I'm sorry, mate.
Obligation?
Well, and it doesn't matter. It makes no odds because he would have been out of contract at the end of this season anyway. So he's gone, you know, and I do wish him well, but you could see that he was finished quite some time ago.
Listen, I'm not going to run him down. I'm not going to run him down. The reason I'm not going to run him down, when we bought him, we knew he had dodgy knees. Let's get straight. Right? No one could say, oh, look, Zuma's got perfect knees. We knew he had dodgy knees. Yeah. And it's only a matter of time. He's given us some good service. It's only a matter of time before, you know, it was going to go past that point. And it's that past that point. And we realized, so we can't slag him off. He's done some good service for us. And maybe the only people we can slag off is the management because they knew what they were getting. They knew how far he could go. And they kept him in there. So we can't blame the player for having dodgy knees.
I agree with that. I agree with that. And I do remember when we were signing him, it was the choice between him and Milenkovic, who was at Fiorentina at the time. Dan, I'm sure you and I talked about this back then.
Yeah,
and we were doing the stat comparisons between Milenkovic and Kurt Zuma, and Milenkovic had I think he had a cold and he was only off once during his whole season, and you knew what you were getting with Zuma.
Yeah.
You knew he had injuries, knee problems, and so on and so forth. And I just remember at the time it was that sort of. 1 minute it was Milenkovic, next minute it was Zuma, you know, and Milenkovic was 15 mil and Zuma was 29 mil.
Yeah.
And we were like, well, surely we're going to go for Milenkovic. Barely injured, etc., etc. And then Moyes went, we've just signed Kurt.
Yeah, it's West Ham.
And then you look at it now, and Zuma's gone on.
Did Moyes have him at Everton?
Which is at Forest.
Yeah. Yes, he did have him at Everton. He was on loan at Everton. Yeah.
Yeah. So listen, it's I don't want to go on about it, but it's Moyes. Yeah, Moyes made that decision. That's what he wanted, and that's what he took. And we can't harp back on it. Yeah, it's what it was. But I wanted Milenkovic. I wanted him badly, because I've seen him, and I thought he'd be perfect for us. And we went after him before Moyes, actually, I believe. Yeah. And
you might be right. Yeah,
and we didn't get him because we was after him for a few seasons, and I thought, oh, if he comes in, he's going to be great, and he's had a great time. Yeah, I mean, Forrest have got him now. I think Forrest.
Yeah,
But at the time we got Zuma, and I thought, God, he can't get in the Chelsea team. But Moyes wanted him. We trusted in Moyes, right? And Moyes had him, and he did whatever Moyes wanted him to do. He just kept him for too long. And we can't. He's gone now, and good luck to him.
Well, another player.
We move on.
Another player that Moyes wanted, and I'm in two minds over this one. I mean, I do agree after the stats that you showed us, Dan, that we're getting a better player in Soler. Ward-Prowse gone to Nottingham Forest on a loan deal. It's all done and dusted. This one we can definitely say has been confirmed. What thoughts on this one? I mean, did he get a rough one?
This is a difficult one for me, really, because even though we looked at those stats and stuff, like, you have to remember that Ward-Prowse was involved in 19 goals and assists last year, which is a lot. Do you know what I mean? So there's clearly a player there. And again, we do have to remember that those stat sheets that we've looked at to break the players down, they're stat sheets that are under Moyes in a low block. We don't know what I think we can kind of guess how Souček would play because he is limited, but we don't know what James Ward-Prowse would do in a different system now at West Ham because he's gone out on loan. I'm in two minds about this one because I think he would have been a good squad player personally, but if he's made his feelings clear that he wants to be playing week in, week out because he is 30 years old now, then you kind of got to respect the player and let him go and play his football. You know, like, you can guarantee, though, he scores a free kick on his debut for Forest.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, guaranteed.
Because I made a joke, didn't I? I made a joke last year with everyone and said, you watch, we'll pay this money for him and we'll be the only club he don't score a free kick for. Every time he had a chance, he'd hit the wall, wouldn't it? And it never happened for him. But you just know, stick a fiver on it.
Yeah.
The thing about
Bonnie, what's your thoughts?
Ward-Prowse, when Moyes played him correctly, he actually looked half decent. Yeah, he scored it, popped in, got forward, scored goals. But under the new system, I don't see him getting in ahead of the other midfielders. Not because Thomas Souček is better than him, but you could say he's quite similar to the other midfielders. Apart from his set pieces, he's quite similar. He'll run around. He'll play 1 or 2 free key passes, probably less than Soler, if you're going to be putting it that way, yeah, when Soler's up to speed. So even though I didn't really want James Ward-Prowse to leave, if you put him and Souček together, Souček is different to the players that we're buying. And based on the first 2 matches and what we've been doing, it looks like Souček has been kept above Ward-Prowse because you have the option to use Souček for what we've been doing in the last couple of matches, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem, because I would have kept, if you gave to me the option, Souček or James Ward-Prowse. In fact, if you gave most West Ham supporters the option, Souček or James Ward-Prowse, I think 99.9% of them would say James Ward-Prowse. Yeah. But based on what the manager's done so far, James Ward-Prowse will not fit into that, because that midfield and the way it's been playing and the way we've been playing to begin with, I don't know if it's we're trying to find our feet or whatever, but Souček probably fits into that system better, even though he offers less. If you understand, do you understand that? Even though he offers less, he probably fits better into that system at the moment. So James Ward-Prowse he was going to be limited, because who are you going to put him ahead of? And you can't play him and Souček, because then you're
then your midfield, as we kind of found out on Wednesday night when they both played in that lineup.
Seen that too many times. We had the whole season of that.
Let's move. Let me just go back to one thing, because I was convinced that we got this player on a 2-year deal, but a lot of people are saying that Sky have reported it's a 1-year deal. So my apologies if that's correct, but I was sent the details and I was told it's 2 years. So I take that back. If it's only 1 year,
is that 1 year with an obligation, or is that 1 year with an option?
Just one.
That I don't know, and that's what I'm going to have to find out. So thank you guys for confirming that to me. I was given details that it was 2 years, but anyway, we move on. Next up,
this one still, just to update you, is officially done.
He's gone.
What? Sociedad.
Yep, it's confirmed.
Right. What do we think of Knife Gerd?
I've never been convinced. But that said, we've only ever seen him in a low block, and he clearly isn't built to play that. No. He just isn't. He's just, I've spoken to other people about this, that I've never been convinced in him. He's another one who's got a bit of a mistake in him. He's played the odd good game, but I've always watched him and thought he'd thrive in a different system, like where they kind of sit on the halfway line and they have time to pass the ball and link. But he was never allowed to do that. He was always, stuck in the box. He's just never been consistent enough, has he? I think that's been the biggest problem. And obviously, you hear what you hear. He apparently never been able to settle in England, and has been looking for that move for a while now. So, I would have been more comfortable with this deal had we bought one in. The fact that we've only got three proper centre-backs is what worries me now. That's all. What
about you, Ronnie? What do you think?
Well, in our system, I had him as the stay, didn't I? I had him as the one who was going to be there. I was quite excited when he joined us, because same. I've seen some clips, and I've seen him lick that ball over to the other side, the right-hand side. I thought, wow, like, he's going to be great. I mean, but you can't, it's really hard to judge any of our players who played under that low block, as Dan says, because we don't know what they would offer. I thought he had a bit to offer, but to be honest with you, he's been pushing so much to leave us. is he actually a good person? I don't know. He seems to get on with everybody in the team. When you look at any of the clips, he's always laughing and joking with everybody. But maybe the manager didn't want him around because he'd shown that willingness to leave, the willingness not to be with us. And even as West Ham supporter, if you're showing a willingness not to be with us and you're showing a willingness not to play with us, fuck off.
Yeah, see, I'm a similar opinion because I'm with you, Ronnie. When he came to West Ham, I must admit, I thought to myself, we're getting a bit of we're getting a Rolls Royce defender here. Dan, I must admit, I that's what I thought at the time.
Yeah.
And then he got that injury, and it took time. I can't remember how many months before he started playing. And then when he started playing, it was like, okay, he's got pace. He seems comfortable on the ball. Those diagonal balls that you said, Ronnie, look really, really good, etc. And I thought, hang on a minute, we've got ourselves a proper modern day central defender. And I get what a lot of fans say. Oh, he's been moist and playing the low block, sort of gets, stops you from loving the game and all that sort of stuff. And it was obvious that he wasn't settled and he wanted to move on. But ironically, despite all that, I thought as soon as Lopetegui was announced, I immediately thought the first person on his team sheet is likely to be a Gerd.
Yeah.
I thought this is now going to transform the player into the player that we thought we were going to get 2 years ago. So I'm really, really surprised. And I know what his mate came out, didn't he? I've been frozen out and all of that. Well, he froze himself out, didn't he? Because he seemed to be all right whenever there was a Moroccan game on. And all of a sudden I'm fit and not ready and not in a prime position to play when he was meant to be playing for West Ham.
I think this is why we went out and bought Kilman and got him done quick, because I think they knew this. I think that they'd gone in and they knew he was twerking for a move. They knew he didn't really want to be at West Ham. And so
but the thing about it, though, Dan, is he was going for a move, but do you think he changed his mind halfway through?
Possibly, yeah. There's so many clubs apparently.
We've had trouble to move him. If a man wants to move, he already knows where he wants to move. I want to go here, and he's got things sorted. But what happened was he's, positioning himself for a move. New managers come in. We've got a new man in his place, and all of a sudden, he's hard to move.
Yeah,
a lot of this can be agents.
I think.
You have to remember agents. You have to remember agents play a big part in players moving and where they move and what they make. And, a lot of these agents cream a bit off the top for themselves. So, a lot of the time these moves, you look at some of the players that have moved in this window, really strange transfers. Ivan Toney's gone to Saudi Arabia.
He's gone.
He's
gone for that.
He's gone for the money, and he's gone there as well because the agent's got him the best deal, and the agent's going to get paid a very, very good bit of money there.
Did he get picked for the England team?
Yeah. Well, will he now? We don't know, do we?
No, the probably won't. Has he been picked already? Has he been picked yet?
No, I don't think so. I don't think the squad's been picked.
It might have been. He might have been told you're not part of the England plans by the new manager. So he might have thought, well, if I'm not going to play for England, there's no sense in staying in Europe. I'll just go and get the money.
It's just a strange one, though. As a striker, he's coming into the prime of his career. 28, 29.
The money. If you're not, listen. For me, if I was a striker and I've got a chance of playing for my country, I'm staying in the leagues that my country's watching. I'm not going to go to no. But if I get told I'm not going to be playing for my country, right? Well, then that's it. I'm going to go and earn my money, mate.
Well, you're right. He wasn't picked for the latest England squad. He's not in it.
Right, there you go.
Oh, right, okay.
He might have been told you're not in our plans for the future. And he might have thought, well, why do I need to stay at Man United? Why do I need to go? I'm not going to get in the England squad. I've been told very clearly I'm not part of the future plans. I'm going to go to Saudi Arabia and earn the bucks. Why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah. I don't know. Tony could have come to West Ham and become a hero if he didn't want the sort of money that he was asking for.
Yeah, he ain't going to get the money, and he ain't going to get the England side. And listen, for me, if you're not going to be progressing in as being a cult hero for the country, being a cult hero for West Ham might be a lot to us, might not be a lot to him. He's a cult hero for Brentford or whatever, yeah. So if he goes to Saudi, He'll earn all the money. He'll be a cat.
Well, yeah, but from what I'm reading on the comments, he's making 1.2 million a month tax free.
Oh,
What?
Look at that. I'm gone. Hold on. Give me that contract. Hold on, I'm gonna do some. I'm not going to the pub no more, man. I'm doing money.
Are you serious? Is someone taking the piss, or is that true?
No, that's probably true. To be fair, when you think about what some of the other players are getting paid.
So he's going to earn 24 million plus over 2 years, tax free. All he's got to stay there is for 2 years. He'll be 31. He'll probably come back, play for West Ham. After 2 years, have his money in the bank. You can't even say nothing, can you? You can't say a word.
Well, look, here's someone who ain't going to be earning 1.2 million a month. Maxwell Cornet.
Poor sod. I feel for Cornet.
Now, I don't know how close this is to being done. Apparently, I think the deal sheet, when a deal sheet's put in, how much more time you given? Is it 2 hours or 3 hours, or is it the next day or something like that?
I think it's a fair amount of time.
Right.
You can go to the next day, I believe, if you put special circumstances in.
So once the deal sheet's in,
I think once you put the sheet in, you can finish it the next day, I believe. I don't know.
Right. I mean, Cornet, so, yeah. I was excited when we got Cornet. You know, I remember seeing a player from Burnley who played up front, who scored that, who missed the penalty against us, but still put in a good shift. And I thought, I'm excited by this. I think he's going to be really, really good. Yeah, and then when he started for us, that game against Chelsea, when the disallowed goal, which he took really well, and then he got his injury.
That shouldn't have been disallowed.
I know it shouldn't have been disallowed. That might have changed his career. You know, weirdly. But,
that should have been disallowed.
That injury he's got, though, is worse than people are told, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
I mean, this is the interesting thing. We talked about Zuma. We talked about Zuma not getting doing his medical. Cornet, my understanding of, like, we've been trying to sort of offload Cornet for the past season and a half or so. And the reason why clubs haven't gone near him is because when they look at his injury record, they're like, no, this isn't going to, we're not taking him. But Southampton look like they're taking a risk. Are they getting a half decent player again for nothing on loan?
How would we even know?
Yeah, that's a good point.
How would we even know? We ain't got no idea. Based on the Chelsea match, yeah, he was fantastic. Yeah. That was years ago. You me? No one's even seen him kick a ball in anger since. We've got no idea what Maxwell Cornet can give to any club because we have not seen him play for our club, right? And at the end of the day, I've just got no idea what he's like. I mean, he played one match, he put a cross in. He's played other matches, he's been totally rubbish. You and me?
Yeah.
You've got no idea for Maxwell Cornell. I've got no idea for him. You know, like I don't care that he's gone.
Dan,
I agree with everything you've said. Honestly, because he just hasn't played enough for us. We could judge him. We can judge him on the player he was when he was at Burnley that got him the move to West Ham. But at West Ham, what has he done in the last couple of years? Not a lot. You know, it's just.
So he's a player we're not really going to miss, is he, at all?
No.
I mean, and then there's a couple of players that haven't gone, but apparently we've got interest in. The first one is what do you guys make of Andy Irving? You know, what do you guys make of this deal?
Well, from what I was initially told, still he was signed just so that we would get a link to a club. Yeah, and that he probably was never. Yeah, and that he probably was never going to appear for the first team for West Ham. It was just about creating relations. Yeah, now he's come back from his loan and he wants to fight for his place for the first team. Well, this is a different story than what we were told. Again, though, he's an anomaly. No one really knows what he can do. We watched him in pre-season. He had a pretty good game against Dagenham Redbridge, didn't he, and stuff. But like, we again, it's another player we don't really know what he's capable of.
Yeah, Ronnie?
I'm not going to say nothing bad against him. I'm not going to say nothing good against him. Because at the end of the day, as Dan says, we don't know what he can offer.
You're lagging a bit,
but
mate.
He's staying. He's fighting for his place. The most... I've flipped up. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Did I come out again?
That's all right. You're back. You're
the
back.
most important thing is that he's... Yeah, sorry. I keep on... I came out there. The most important thing is that he's cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he ain't costing us. He ain't costing us an arm and a leg. So let's see what he can do. If he can't do nothing in January, we'll put him to Chelsea, Celtic, or St Mirren, whoever he is. If he gets a chance to play in the cup, great.
Yeah, agreed. And one other player we've got to talk about is Danny Ings. Early part of the transfer window. The story is that Southampton were interested in him. West Ham United were willing to subsidise his wages so he wouldn't lose out. He turned that down. There was subsequent interest, apparently, from clubs like Leeds and another champion, Burnley, I think his old club. But he clearly didn't want to drop a league. What do we expect from Danny Ings now that we've got Danny Ings? We've got Mikel Antonio, and we've got Nicholas Fullkrug. Is Ings going to get any game time at all, unless, of course, we get injuries?
Well, he may get some off the bench, and if anything, I actually thought he was quite lively when he come on against Villa. Mate, it's those wages. That's what it is. 125 grand a week he's on. Like, nobody is in their right mind's going to be paying a 32-year-old that, and paying a fee. And that was the issue. And like, Ings knows he's got a good thing at West Ham because he's under contract, So I don't know. I really don't know what to make of it, mate. But look, if at the end of the day, though, if he scores a few goals this season, helps us win games, then it's a body, and it's a good player to have, isn't it? He just hasn't been able to show it because, unfortunately, Moyes didn't play to his strengths. But then we could say that about quite a few players, couldn't we, under the Moyes regime, unfortunately. But there could be the odd game where Danny Ings can make the difference this season. When Lopetegui come in, it was a fresh start for everyone. So I think that I've kind of had to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, even those that have not been that great the last year, 18 months, because it's a whole new world, isn't it, for all of them, really.
Ronnie, do you think Ings has got a role to play at West Ham this season?
He stayed, so he's not gone. So let's hope that even if it's a minuscule role, he plays some kind of role. He comes off the bench and scores a goal. I mean, let's be honest. We've had Ings under Moyes, and he didn't fit under nothing that Moyes did whatsoever. There's a possibility he might fit under one or two things that Lopetegui might do, but he's with us. So we've got to see what happens in the next. I don't see him getting no game time, but if Antonio or Fullkrug gets injured, he's there. So he's what we've got. I wanted Duran because I think he would have been perfect for us. I would have put my money on us winning the league on Duran because he's got what Fullkrug's got and he's got what Antonio's got, in my opinion. And he's young, so he could have been trained.
Going on that, is that let's deal with this, what Trod just said here. Apparently, this is what Southampton fans are saying about Ward-Prowse. Would have had nightmares with Ward-Prowse, a small bone in the team, passing the ball backwards and sideways, continue for 90 minutes. Well, that's what we were having last season, weren't we? But anyway, let's move on.
That's what Moyes played. So he was perfect for the Moyes system. Moyes brought him to when we got the ball to pass it back. And he probably would have fitted in for Lopetegui because Lopetegui does a little bit of that. Because what Lopetegui does, he gets his players to pass it back, and then the next player runs past, and the person who's passed it back to then plays it to the player who's run past the player who's moved forward. where you've passed it to, if you understand what I mean. So, you know, when you look at James Ward-Prowse, he was probably for that system, but obviously the manager doesn't fancy him. So,
is not getting another striker the biggest disappointment of this transfer window? Let me ask it in a different way. What do you make of Fullkrug? Do you think Fullkrug is going to become a 10-goal a season striker?
Can I say that? Can I say something about that?
Go, mate. Go on, mate.
When you remember, do you remember when you done the show and you pulled up the people, right? Right, and you pulled up all these people in the last show I was on. I think it was a transfer show, and you came in and went, nah, right? And I said, forget about him. Do you remember?
Yeah, I do.
And then we bought him. I thought, oh, we bought him now. So let's see. So let's see what he's gonna do. And then I got really perturbed because I watched this video. You all saw it, didn't you? When they played the ball.
Yeah, I've seen the video. I don't know if you've seen it, Dan, where Fullkrug is offside in the game against Bournemouth, and he didn't know he was offside, so he was running for the ball, and the defender was about 10 yards behind him and still beat him to the ball. I'm just going to put that down to lack of match fitness.
No, that's how he was moving, mate. That was like the Zuma thing what I talked about earlier on, where Zuma was running backwards. He was running backwards, mate. Yeah, that guy was too far behind him. Yeah, when I shoot 100 meters, that means I'm starting on 100 meters just before the 100-meter line, and the guy's coming from the start. And he's overtaking me.
Then I'm going to protect him by saying he knew he was offside. That's why he didn't run fast.
All right, we'll go for that one. But it was very worrying when you consider that we've been looking to play them balls. But the good thing about it is the Souček thing I spoke about. That Souček is gonna at the moment is dropping in, so we will expect Fullkrug to drop in and do that job, and then turn and then play it wide to Bowen and whoever we've got on the left wing who's going to be fast to be running in and doing that job. So we won't cry.
What about you, Dan? I mean,
the thing with
look at this comment from Troj. If we'd signed Duran, who would we not have signed?
Yeah, I'd see a few players because Duran was going to be an expensive transfer.
Yeah.
And
we needed a rebuild, didn't we?
I actually think we have to commend Steidten because he's gone out and got a very good striker in Fullkrug, different striker to Duran, got him for less money. He's used that money because he knew we needed more. He knew we needed 8 or 9 players.
Yeah.
And so to be able to achieve that, he's gone and just got the cheaper option. What I would say is next summer we'll go and spend big on a striker. I genuinely believe that, But I'm not going to write Fullkrug off yet, but he isn't going to be that striker that's going to sit on the shoulder of a defender and run past, and that's not what he does. He holds the ball up. He's good in the air. Fullkrug was bought to get Kudos and Bowen and Somerville in on goal. That's why he was bought, because he's very good at holding the ball up, heading the ball on. The amount of headers he won against Bournemouth. So yeah, is he going to score 20 goals? No, but if he scores 10, 11, 12, it's still more than Antonio did last year.
Well, I'm going to say he's going to score 10, 11. I actually, even though for what I've said, that doesn't mean I don't think he can score. I just don't think that he can play in a particular system that we've got. He will be dropping deep and getting the ball. When he gets in the penalty area, he'll score, I believe, or when he's on the edge of the penalty. Because even if you look at Souček's goal against Crystal Palace, that was caused because Fullkrug was in the area and had a shot.
Yeah. He was trying to sort his feet out to get the shot off himself, weren't he? And it fell to Souček. So
I think if he's in the area, in going forward, if he's in that position, he'll score.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's interesting because Johnny's saying much the same thing. Fullkrug has been signed because he's got exceptional link-up play, particularly when his team are on the front foot and pressing high up. Wait till the team gel and you see what he can do. And I kind of agree with that. I think we've got to be patient with Fullkrug. It's not going to work immediately. And it's what you said, Ronnie. We might be playing a different style of football for the first couple of months until he's up and running. Then we might see a completely different kind of game plan. You look at Steidten. He's no fool, is he? He's not going to. I know we were going, oh, Duran, Fullkrug, what the hell's going on here? Completely different players. But you're absolutely right, Dan. He's had to think about how much money he had to spend, and he's had to think about what was best for the team. He's not gone out and bought.
Fullkrug wasn't cheap, guys. Get back.
Yeah, but he weren't 45 million, which is what Villa wanted for Duran. You know, he was half that.
How much did you pay for Fullkrug?
Fullkrug only cost us 27 million in total.
That's a lot of money, mate.
Yeah, but he was arguably Germany's best player at the Euros. Scored 14 last year for Dortmund. Like he's no slouch. You know, he's a good player. You know, and Steident knows him from his time working with him at Wolfsburg as well. So Steident knows the player. He knows because you got to think it's not just about their ability on the pitch; it's about personality and what he can bring to the team as well. So
he's not that big as well. We said he's a big German, but he's not that big, is he? He's
actually he's not that big, is he? Well, at the game at the weekend at Palace, I was thinking like he's going to be a fucking giant, and he wasn't that large, was he?
No, he's not that big.
I'm going to say something controversial though. I'm quite glad we didn't get Duran because for me, Duran, there was far too many red flags.
Go on.
The minute we got linked and he was giving it all this on social media, he was deleting Aston Villa out of his profiles and all this stuff. No, that's too much. That's a massive red flag because you've got to look at it this way, right? The minute he's got linked and then he's twerking for that move, what if he joins us and then he has a really good 8 months and then a big club comes in? He's just going to treat us that way as well.
Trini has just said,
Who cares? We get paid the money, mate, and we go and buy someone better. That's our job. Yeah.
Yeah, but you've got to be professional about it. I don't care who you are as a footballer. Just carry yourself professionally. Do you know what I mean?
I was like a bit of a nutter of a forward because.
But this is what I think Fullkrug can become. I think Fullkrug can become that kind of, you know, once he gets under the skin of the fans, he could become that sort of that. I look
forward to that. I like nutters. Nutter forwards. Nutter forwards are the best. Hello, Ray. By the way.
Oh yeah, someone said hello to you. He's right. Players in. So this is what we've spent. Give or take. I mean, I've not included all add-ons and all that sort of malarkey, but give or take, we brought in. I'm including Irving on this. I'm cheating. I'm saying 10 players because Irving was on loan last season. Now we've spent 129 million pounds on 10 players. You know, and someone did ask, should we have spent the 20 odd million pounds for Guilherme? Would we have spent that? Would that not have been better spent on a striker? Do you get the idea of Guilherme? Do you understand why we bought him? Or do you think that was money that we could have spent elsewhere?
I wouldn't have spent it this year based on the rebuild. Just because of the amount we needed. But you're getting him for 21 million this year. There's nothing to say you'd have got him for that. He could have had a really good season and he could have been a 40 million pound player, couldn't he? So he's clearly one for the now, but more for the future, isn't he? He's clearly going to be in and around the first team and he's going to be one for the future. But I don't know. We would have to see. We'll have to see if it pays off.
Yeah. I mean, Scott's saying he's an investment. He could be worth 40 million next season, exactly. You know, or next year. So, I mean, Ronnie, you look at that. You look at those 10 players. Are you disappointed with that? What rating out of 10 would you give that?
Well, you're saying 129 million, 10 players. That's 12.9 million
average. Yeah.
You can't even complain about that. Guilherme, I'm not going to complain about him because I think he'll have a part to play. I think he can play in the center. I think he can play on the right. So I think he's got a future with us. It all concerns what they're doing with him and what the coaching's doing. Wan-Bissaka, still, mate, as far as I can say so far. I'm only
absolute still. Yeah.
Todibo, he needs a few months because someone pointed out to me that he hadn't actually had a preseason. So that's why he's blowing out his ass. You and me, when he's up to speed, he's shown glimmers, you know, bits that he might be great. Yeah, Kilman, 40 million. you heard me moaning about this, didn't you? Based on what I've seen so far, absolute steal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Guido, great player. I don't even need to say much. When he's up to speed, because I don't believe he's even up to speed yet, he's going to be even a greater player. Irving, we don't know what's going to happen with him. Salah is I think he's an upgrade. Yeah, that's all I'll say. He's an upgrade. And we don't know. And he's got to get up to speed. Somerville, I think Somerville's going to have his moments. I don't know if he's going to get in every match. Seems a bit small, but then again, he's been doing it in the Championship and he wasn't too bad in the Premiership. So 25 million, not bad. And Fullkrug, I think he'll score 10 goals. So basically, I am not going to complain about the window based on them players. Just I would have liked a little bit more, but it's what it is.
Yeah, agreed. Dan?
Yeah, I think it's a very solid window because I said to you before a ball was kicked in anger, didn't I, Still, that we're going to have a big rebuild this summer. We probably need 8 players, and me and you, knowing West Ham, we were saying to each other, well, we'd be lucky if we got 4 or 5, but we knew we needed more. And I'm just amazed that the club's gone out there and rebuilt this squad the way they have in one window. Like, I'm really, really surprised. Like they've transformed the squad. It's not just the amount of players; it's the quality of player that we've got.
Yeah,
Guilherme's one for the future, but he's seen as a massive prospect in Brazil. Somerville, Championship Player of the Year last year. Fullkrug's just played in the played in the European competition with Germany. Was arguably their best player. Wan-Bissaka at 15 million is a head scratcher. How have we got him for that much money? He's mental. And then Kilman looks as Ronnie just said. I actually thought he was a lot of money at the time, but I've watched him and he looks incredible. Like he has transformed us at the back already. Even next to Dinos, who's a bit shaky. To Devo, he will come good. He's not like Ronnie's just said. He hasn't had that pre-season. It's going to take him a bit of time. And then like Rodriguez in midfield for nothing. Like when like the big ITKs and the people that know what they're talking about, in La Liga are saying that Barcelona cocked up there by not signing him, tells you all you need to know. Like that's an inspired signing, really. So there, for me, completes the midfield, and then obviously there's the free and the loan signing there, but I honestly think it's an 8 out of 10 window.
Yeah,
for me personally, I would have just tried to shift one of Ings or Antonio and bought another striker in. That's the only difference I'd have made. Because Antonio again has shown us this season that his body's made out of the same material trampolines are, because balls just bounce off him. He hasn't got it anymore. For me, Antonio is an impact sub now. He's just not good enough to start football games.
I wouldn't play him up front. I would have got another striker for the fact that I've never been an Antonio player up front. I'll play him on the wing. So for me, we needed another striker because Antonio is not, for me personally, a striker. He's a winger. Yeah, I'll play him on the wing. He can put a cross in. And he's there up front. He'll close down players. He's been doing it on his own all season. So with more people to do it, it makes him more of a commodity. But you're right, Dan, we should have got another striker, I believe. Whether we kept him or not. I don't think Ings is that other striker that we need because he ain't going to get in behind. But yeah, I think, like you said, we can't complain about that window. And more importantly, the players that we kept was important as well.
Yeah.
We
didn't lose any big players, did we? Which was surprising. I will be honest, it's surprising. I thought Paqueta was gone, but then obviously the charges stopped that.
The charges did stop that. I've just heard that Cornet is signed for Southampton. That's done.
Way.
And that takes me on to the players that have gone. Look how many players have left. Did you know since January And this summer, we got rid of so many players. 2 goalies, all right. 2 academy goalies, 2 right backs, and 2 centre backs, and 3 centre backs, in fact, because I put a Gerd out on the left. 4 midfielders and 3 attacking players. That's quite.
You know what? The big
quite-
thing when you look at that, people are going to go, "Oh, we didn't make a lot of money," but what will be lost is the amount we trim the fat on the wages.
Massive amount of money.
Because
And that's-
Kayra was on 80 grand a week, Zuma was on 100 plus,
Yeah, he was on
Gerd was on
100,
like
yeah.
50, 60, Ward Prowse was on close to 100. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of wages being trimmed there, which is just as important, you know, when it comes to FFP and PSR. So, you know, I think
that is a good point. We've trimmed the wages, but more importantly, when you look at them players who have gone, how many of them players would you say that you'd be putting in our starting lineup?
exactly.
Yeah, you wouldn't. I've just very, very quickly worked out we've saved £600,000 a week in wages with all those players gone.
It's mad, isn't it? That's
That's
crazy.
just right off the top of my head, round about £600,000 a week.
Yeah, wow.
You know,
I think the board. I've got to say this because I'm not the biggest fan of the board. They do deserve some credit, you know, because we've you know, for the money spent and backing Lopetegui here. But what I will say still, because we've always said this when people say, "Oh, they don't spend money," they have always spent money.
they've always spent money,
but not spent it well. It just shows you the importance of having someone like Tim Steiden in charge of transfers. Because look at the difference.
This is the thing. He is actually going to transform.
I'm not giving the board credit, right? Because I think it's good that they got Tim Steiden, but I'm not giving the board credit because I think they put themselves in this situation. They put themselves in the situation where they had to do a massive rebuild. We've been doing too many rebuilds every year. The only difference with this rebuild is that we've got someone decent to make sure that we're rebuilding it with decent players. Yeah, we ain't getting the McTominays. We ain't getting the Maguires. We ain't getting the players that the managers want because now we've got someone to deal with our transfers, to get the players in to fit the system. And even if we get rid of Lopetegui tomorrow, we'll get someone in to play with, to deal with the players that we've got. And that's the important thing is we've changed the system. Yeah. So, you know, I'm not giving the board credit. The only credit I'm giving the board is that they've changed the system.
Yeah, it's about instilling a philosophy, which has been lost on the club for a while, unfortunately. You know, so hopefully with Steiden in charge of it now, then the windows could be promising. The big telltale will be January. Where will they be allowed to do business in January? Because the last 3 Januaries, nothing's happened, and it's cost us.
I think because of the money that we've saved in salaries. Of course, when it's not a grand saving of £600,000 because let me just quickly work out here how much we're spending in salaries here. We're looking at 180, we're looking at 280, 320, 390, 400, 420, 5. We're looking at nearly £600,000 worth of salaries here, actually. You know, give or take. So it's almost balanced itself out.
Still.
Go on.
Let's not forget. Yeah, we got 100 odd million for Declan Rice last season. Yeah, let's not forget all these things.
Whenever I ask Sean Whetstone that, he tells me that was the previous season and it doesn't count. So...
Yeah, he's going to tell you that because we know Sean. I know Sean for many years. Yeah, he's going to tell you that. But we can't be just discounting the past and just looking at the present. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if you're discounting the past and looking at the present, you're saying the past never happened. But it did happen. We've had seasons where we've lost money. We've had seasons when we've gained money. But even if you look at last season, we was talking about the surplus that we had to buy players. Yeah?
Yeah.
You're saying that surplus been used plus the Declan Rice money. I'm not going to go into it, but let's not be doing the hoorahs and the jump ups and look how, when we're not including them things. Yes, we've done well. Yeah. Yes, but I'm sure we've got money left over for the January window to get whatever we need. And if people tell me otherwise, where's the money from before gone?
Well, I keep being told that we've actually in terms of. I think there was quite a lot of concern. I think probably the concern has been eased now, but there was quite a lot of concern when we weren't getting rid of any players, because had we not gotten rid of a Gerd and Zuma and Cornet, that alone has saved us. He was on 100 and 170. That alone has saved us about 250 grand a week in wages. And I think there was a massive concern that we would have. It's like I said earlier on in the show, if these players had been kept on until January, we'd be paying out these wages. And I think that's why Danny Ings, I've got Danny Ings up in the corner there, because I think he's the only player that hasn't gone that I think the club wanted to move on because of his 100 odd grand a week. Now, if we compare the signings in and the signings out, I mean, you look at them and every area, personally, I would say has been improved.
Yeah,
so this is a squad that we finished with at the end of the season. I've discluded the Fornals and Ben Rama, who hasn't played, etc. So this is a squad we finished with. So we had the young goalkeeper, Joseph Anang, who was the academy keeper. We got Wes Foderingham in. We've got, so basically I've tried to pair up the players that have gone to the players that have come in. I think apart from Guilherme and Irving, who are unknown, we don't know what we're going to get from them. Would you argue that we've actually improved our squad?
Yeah, 100%.
Even with Guilherme and Irving, you're telling me Irving, you don't think is an update on Connor Coventry? Is that Connor Coventry?
That is Coventry, yeah.
Yeah, so you're telling me Irving isn't an update on Connor Coventry?
No, I think
the season he had last season, yeah? And let's be honest, my grandmother's an update on bloody Maxwell Cornell, right? Cornet, yeah? So I done it, even Guilherme, even he never kicks a ball for us, he's still done better than Cornet. So, 100% upgrade all the way through.
Yeah, and
everything there is an upgrade.
Yeah, I think it is an upgrade. I think even Somerville compared to Ben Rama. I mean, when we got Ben Rama, he was the star of the championship, wasn't he? I don't think he won championship player of the season, but whereas Somerville did, even he should be an upgrade on what we had before. No, we've been needing a natural left-sided attacking player, and we've got him in now. I think overall, I'm happy with the window. I think we've done well. I think it's going to take time. Someone put up a team line. So Tony reckons, by Christmas, our lineup could include Areola, Wan-Bissaka, Todibo, Kilman, Emerson, Alvarez, Sola, Paqueta, Bowen, Fullkrug, Kudus. I mean, that's mouth-watering, isn't it?
It's unbelievable that they've done that in one window.
Yeah,
that is the biggest takeaway for me, that they did it in one window. Look at the improvement they made to that first team. So you got AWP instead of AWB instead of Soufal. That is a massive upgrade. The two centre backs, brand new centre back partnership, but it's an upgrade on Zuma and Agerd that were playing most of last season. Emerson, Alvarez keep their spots, fully deserved. Solar in the midfield, and then you've got Paqueta, Bowen, and Kudos still in there, probably arguably our three best players. And then Fullkrug up top, who's going to be finishing off all those chances that those attacking players, create. Because you've got to think Solar, Paqueta, Bowen, Kudos. You think about the amount of chances they're going to create.
Yeah. There's only one concern I've got. I don't know if you guys have got the same. Is seeing Kudos playing out left.
Yeah, that's not his strongest position. Like, personally, I would prefer to see him central, but if Lopetegui can make it work, then
would you, for example, looking at Tony's team there, would you, for example, put Bowen up front, put Kudus on the right, and Somerville on the left?
No, I don't rate Bowen up top. I think he's wasted.
What about Kudus as a false number 9?
Maybe. I think Kudus' strongest position is 10.
I think we will see matches when that will happen, because we've also left that Rodriguez out of that lineup.
We've left out Rodriguez, we've left out Somerville, but he did say a strong bench. So
yeah. I mean, I would have I'd probably play the double pivot. And
I think against your Cities, your Uniteds, your Chelseas, I think you will see Alvarez Rodriguez personally, but against I hate saying it like this, but the lesser teams, the teams that are more on our level, I think you go more attacking personally.
So I'm going to ask you the $1 million question then. With the squad that we've now got, even though it's not 100%, because it still would have been good to get another central defender and another striker with a lot more pace. What's this squad going to do this season? The first few games, and like you said, Ronnie, the first few games, we're finding our feet and all that sort of stuff. Tony's suggesting that it could take till Christmas for us to really.
Well, that might be 9 games.
That might be a bit too long.
9 games. We got the international break. So how many of our players have been called up? Maybe a few of them have been called up, but the rest are there. They can work on systems. So you got the international break to work on the system. So I'm taking that in consideration where I'm putting the 9 games thing in place. But then again, if we've got 18 points after 9 games, right, I'll be happy. If we've got anything between 9 and 18 points after 9 games, I'll be content. Yeah. If we've got anything over 18 points after 9 games, is that possible? I'll be ecstatic. And that's the way I look on it.
I said once that we'd sign the majority of the players. I think expectations for this team now should be to qualify for Europe. But because it's a new manager and it's essentially a brand new team, if you give me top 8 and a cup run this year, I'd be happy. I genuinely, if we finished 8th and it was a fun season, because that's the biggest thing for me is the last couple of years. I know we had the cup win, and I do not want to paper over that. I really, really don't, because it was an immense night for all of us West Ham fans. But the last 2 years, it's been boring watching West Ham. It's not been entertaining. It's been a hard watch, and still, I found it really hard last year. And I didn't renew this season. I missed a lot of games because of things going on. But even the games that I could go to, I was trying to find excuses not to. And the amount of times we would all be standing there and we'd all be having a laugh and doing anything but watching the game because it was so bad. So I'm glad
you was able to last the game. I went down the pub, mate.
Oh, honestly,
Stel would tell you, look round, I'll be gone, mate, because I'm thinking, oh God, I can't take this no more, and I'll be down the pub.
But if it's
there's a question for you here, Ronnie, from Eileen. Hand on heart, from what you've seen, Antonio or Fullkrug?
Eileen, I'm not saying a word because I'll tell you why, right? Because it's a bit early. Fullkrug, right, has not shown me enough, but I can see what he may offer. Antonio, I know what he can offer. I don't want to play Antonio up front, but is Fullkrug the answer? It's very hard to say. I'll still play Antonio. I might play Antonio wide with Fullkrug. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but at the moment, it's a really hard question because we haven't had enough time to assess Fullkrug in the story here. We haven't enough time to assess him. He could come out great. You with me? At the end, Antonio don't score. He does everything except for score. And that's the worrying thing. We need scorers.
Yeah.
It's what Scott just said. Antonio's a championship player at best now. Fullkrug can hit the net. Antonio misses from 6 yards. I mean, we've seen him do it. We've seen it. What was the game? The Brentford game when he nicked the ball off Benrahma's foot because he was so desperate to score. Was that last season? I think it was last season when we were away to Brentford. And we were 2-0 up and we could have been 3-0 by half time. And then Antonio was so desperate to score, he nicked it off the foot of Benrahma. All Benrahma had to do was side foot it in. and the game would have been over. And then we went on and lost the bloody game, and we've seen him do it. I mean, I love Antonio for what he's done for West Ham United. You can't fault him for that. He's gone from right back to midfield to right wing to left back to whatever. The only position he hasn't played is bloody goalie, but his time's up, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
The thing about Antonio, right? You say that. You think about Antonio, though. If you ever go and look at his goals, they're all very similar. So if you've got a player scoring similar goals and then you change him, and if you look, he used to come in and score them goals. He'd come in from the right and score them goals. He'll come in from the left and score them goals. He'll come in from the middle and score them goals. Now, if you start putting him up and say, all right, you're holding the ball, you're getting there, all the things that he used to do to score goals, he's no longer doing, unfortunately, and he's getting older. He's been battered for 2-3 years, Antonio. Yeah. I'm never going to run him down because there's too many other people running him down. Yeah. So for me, he's not a forward. I don't think he's been used to his best. I think he's been used because Moyes wanted him to use it in a certain way. Right. I think he's got older. So Lopetegui's got him at a bad time now because now he hasn't got what he had before when he wasn't a forward and he used to score goals. Antonio never scored most of his goals for us as a forward. He scored most of his goals for us as a right back or as a winger. Yeah? If you look at his goals, and when you ever get a chance, go and look at his goals. There's no difference in the goals he scored as a winger to the goals that he scored under Slaven Bilic or anyone else that he played for, yeah? There's no difference in the goals. He's arriving in the same place, doing the same thing. The only difference is now he's running his arse off, right? And holding the ball up and doing all that kind of stuff where he didn't used to do that. He'd arrive in the box. He'd come down the wing. He'd do all that kind of stuff. So we've seen him in a different way in the last 4 years to how he was when we saw him in the beginning. And in the beginning, he was probably more prolific, was he, than he was in the last couple of, since we've changed his...
Well, it's had a lot of injuries, yes, so that's impacted as well. So
I'm not going to run him down. I'm not going to put him. I'm not going to run him up down. I'm not going to put him up.
I don't want to put him down. I want to run him down because he's been a great servant, but he's 34 years of age and we are almost still reliant on him yet again.
That's the manager's fault.
To lead the line.
It's the manager's fault. Yeah. That's why I wanted Duran, because Duran is a mixture of both of them and we didn't get him. So why weren't we looking for somebody else who was like similar to that, who's a mixture? Because if we get that, we're laughing.
The issue was this summer though that the striker market was hard work for everybody.
Jonathan David.
For some weird reason, strikers were expensive. Look at bloody Nketiah. He's just gone to Palace for like 30 odd million.
He just paid 28 million for Fullkrug.
Yeah, but Nketiah scored like 8 goals in 4 years. Like, there's the difference. Fullkrug scored 14 last year. Like, in one season, he's outscored him.
8 goals in 4 years. He scored 3 goals in a match that I watched that were brilliant, every single goal last season.
But it's one game. Like, but it's a lot of money, isn't it? For like
a player who's not playing regularly. Fullkrug has played every single match. So I don't know how you can compare them in goals.
You're getting the finished article. In Fullkrug, you're getting the finished article, right? It annoys me that we focus way too much on age and pace and all this. Like, Teddy Sheringham was one of the slowest players I've ever watched.
Teddy Sheringham Fullkrug.
The point I'm trying to make is we are too hung up on, because Antonio's fast and runs the line, the next striker has to. He doesn't. As long as the manager uses the striker correctly,
that is correct.
That's the best out of him.
And we've got Danny Ings there, so. Danny Ings wasn't used correctly. The thing about it is about systems. It's about how you're playing that system. And I can understand the point of Fullkrug in that he's hold up the play. He'll play the ball wide. He'll get in the area. Yeah, eventually. But you can't put him down to Teddy Sheringham.
No. I'm just making the point. I'm just making the point, though, that I think there's way too much emphasis on the fact that he's 31 and he ain't got pace. Yeah, you look. It's all about buying the best player for the system. They've obviously gone out there, looked at strikers, and the one striker they could afford, they thought was going to fit the system best, was him.
Well,
Because
I
if they'd
think,
have gone for a Durant, he was going to cost too much money, and then you may have lost the chance to get another player that's made us strong.
okay.
There's
Well,
that, you know,
I think we've seen a snippet of the system in that the way that we've been playing that long ball and
yeah, but see, I don't think the long ball's going to stick, Ronnie. I think we've been playing the long ball because we didn't have the centre midfielder that he needed. I genuinely think within the next 5 games you'll see less long balls, and it will
and
start going through the
how
middle.
will Fullkrug then fit into that system? Because if he's the person who's holding up the ball,
Yeah,
who's
then
he
he goes
collecting the
wide.
ball
You
from?
don't. The ball doesn't have to go to him in the air, does it? It can go to him
No,
on the
but who's he
ground.
collecting it from? Who's he collecting it from?
Sola. He's the man that's going to be now driving the midfield.
He's going to be driving that midfield.
We're talking about a couple of months when we're seeing what's happening. But to me, if his strength is in the air and getting in the penalty area, then he has to get up to there. And we've got 2 wingers who are rapid, so we need a rapid person to get into that box.
No, see, I personally disagree with that. I don't think it's got anything about keeping up with your wingers, because you've got to think about where you play the winger in. The winger's got to beat people. Wingers don't always. The wingers now don't actually play like they used to 10 years ago either. They all play the weak. They all play with on their weakest side. They all cut in now. If you look at both of them, you look at both our wingers. They're not driving. The Bowen's not driving to the line and getting balls in. He's driving
the whole
inside.
point of the Lopetegui system is that they do invert, and then the wing, the defenders overlap and play the ball in. Yeah, that is the system, as far as I'm aware. I don't know, but that's one of
if you break that down, yeah, wingers drive in. It takes time for those to overlap, just giving your striker plenty of time to get in the box. Don't need to be the quickest man out on the pitch.
I'm not going to listen. I'm not criticizing.
No, I'm just trying to make the point.
I'm not even disagreeing with you, Dan. Yeah, but I just don't see how Fullkrug is going to fit into the system when we've got it going, even though you say he's holding up the play, because we've got people who can play in midfield who can hold up the play and do the same thing. So it'd be interesting, because I would have thought if he's going to hold up the play, he'll get the ball maybe higher and then hold it, because we've got people who can get the ball at their feet and play 1-2s around people to hold that ball up. So
the way what Johnny's saying here, if you watch what Dortmund did with Fullkrug last year, moving the quick players around him with like Kudus, Bowen, Somerville, etc., and cutting in, and Paqueta, Soler, and Souček box crashing, he will add a lot. So he's a link-up player. He's linking players up, you know. And
I don't think for a minute Fullkrug's been bought to score 25 a season. I think he's been bought to help the wingers score 15 each. That's what I genuinely think he's been.
I've said he's going to score 10. So,
but even if he scores 10, it's an improvement on what Antonio did last year.
Yeah.
So that's how you got to look at it.
I'm not judging. I'm not judging different strikers who play different ways ever in my life. Yeah, I played striker for about 4 seasons, right? And I played different ways. I was a midfielder. They put me up front because I was a bit fast. Yes, I played striker for a couple of seasons because I was fast. But at the end of the day, they were both different ways. Antonio's too old to learn. Fullkrug's too old to learn. Duran is young enough to learn. And that's my point. A young striker who has both of what they both have would have probably been a better option. If you think about it, 27 million is a lot of money to pay.
And I agree. If you get Duran for 30 million, I agree. But you weren't getting him for anything less than 45. And there was other positions that were more important.
I know. But what I'm saying is there was other players younger who probably we could have looked at. I mean, we got
unfortunately that striker market. Unfortunately, this summer was just a mad. I've obviously kept an eye on it, and the striker market.
Well, the Colombian geezer that we were looking at. How was he? 25? What's he like? What's his name?
What, the one that plays in Brazil?
Yeah, the Colombian. Yeah, Yannick something or other. What was? He'd end up
Duran's worth 40 million as well. He's just absurd. What's Duran done?
I've got no idea how much Duran is worth, yeah. But if our pearl diver says that he can do what he can do, it'd be interesting because we don't know who's worth anything, yeah. But
Yeah, it's
27 million is a lot of money to pay for.
But that's with the add-ons, though, Ronnie. Remember, that's with the add-ons.
Is that
He's got to achieve a
I'm not
lot of
running
things.
Fullkrug down, you know, because I'll be cheering him when he starts scoring. You know what I'm like,
Right.
still.
I'm going to wrap it up, and I'm going to ask you 2 more questions before we go. First of all, the Corrupt Cup that it's now called, rather than the Carabao Cup. A cup run would be good, Michael says. Fraud Cup, he calls it, away to Liverpool, means we're always against it. Quick comment on your thoughts on how on earth have they fucking done that to the cup? And it's about time we went up there and spanked them, isn't it?
Definitely about time, because I went to the last one.
2015.
Yeah, we lost 5-something.
Oh, the cup game. Yeah, I was at the last cup game.
Oh, that was horrible.
The last win was 2015.
That was horrible. Oh yeah, the wins were good. We won 3 times. That's two times that season, and drew one, I think. But Lanzini, wasn't it?
Lanzini scored away.
Yeah, but that's last season. Was it last season? That 5-1. That was horrible. And the worst thing about it is, on the way home, the trains were down. It took me 7 hours to get home. Yeah. I'll never forgive anybody for that in the world. Yeah. 7 hours to get home. Yeah. From Liverpool. That was horrible, mate. That was the worst day of my life. Yeah. So if we spank them, I'll be very happy. The only problem is, just don't see it happening.
Dan?
I don't know how they've got away with this with the cup, by the way. I don't know. Like I've said to you a few times, and I still that like VAR is almost like the Premier League going, oh look, the league's corrupt and this is us. You know, just being really obvious about it. You know, and now to do this and keeping the big teams apart, mate, it's just ridiculous. And we're at a point now where I wish that Super League had happened. Just to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm at that point because I'm so sick of the big 6 clubs all being protected the way they are every year. Like the amount of protection they get is a joke, you know. And like now we've got like the impossible task of Liverpool away where we just never win. What we've won there like once in the last 40 odd years, haven't we, or something? Like it's just it's a joke. It really is, but we'll see. I'd love a cup run, but
the worst thing about it is they did the draw. Did anyone know about this? Did they make up on the day?
I don't know, mate. And they also did it not live either. They did it behind the scenes.
All of a sudden they said, "Oh, this is how we're doing it." I thought, well, when did you decide that? Was it written somewhere? Did I miss it, or you know, it was disgusting, mate. I just thought, and it was such a deflator. After we got our lucky win against Bournemouth, it was such a deflator because I thought, oh yeah, right, we're going the next round, we're going to get through, and then bang, this team's at home, and whoever they get, and they get us. It's disgusting.
I couldn't even believe what I was reading when I see it, and they were like, oh, so like the European teams can't draw each other, and I thought it was like someone was just having a laugh, and like made it up, and then obviously it all got drawn. I was like, oh no, that actually happened, like, and that's.
Disgusting. And you know what? We're going to be careful. They're going to do the same thing on the FA Cup without telling us.
They'll do the same. They've got to do that. I mean, that's what's coming, isn't it? That's what's coming. They'll do the same with the FA Cup. Yeah. And let's finish off, given that none of you think we're going to win against Liverpool away.
Oh, I didn't say we were going to win. I didn't say we weren't going to win.
There's always a chance still.
I think we're gonna go out there and beat them. I'm going up there, and we're gonna.
You never know.
I'm gonna see a win. And so having said that, what about tomorrow? We got a game tomorrow. Man City at home. I want a score prediction from you guys. Come on, for fuck's sake.
Well, I'm just gonna give a shout downstairs and ask the Northern Irish people what they think the score's gonna be. Yeah, hold on. Hey, what's the score going to be tomorrow? Hello? What's the score going to be tomorrow?
He's asking somebody.
All right. 2-0.
Go on.
2-0 West Ham.
2-0 West Ham.
Yeah.
I wish I could be that optimistic.
So that's not my score. That's the Northern Irish people's score.
I reckon we're going to win tomorrow as well. It's a new dawn. It's a new dawn. It's a new dawn.
If you think about it, though, last time we played them, didn't Mather, Parnos, didn't he keep Haaland a little bit quiet? You know what we got done on last time? We got done on that they played the ball through and we weren't fast enough. Yeah? Remember they played the ball through and our defenders weren't fast enough to defend it. That's how we got done on, I think, 2 of the goals. We got fast defenders now. So we ain't going to get done that way. So how are they going to get...
Haaland's had 8 weeks off.
Haaland is going to be in Kilman's pocket tomorrow.
Yeah.
Mate, come on. Haaland didn't play any football.
Right? Just like our dreams. Yeah, listen.
Look, don't get me wrong. I'll be singing and dancing like the rest of it.
Tie up that right-hand side. Nothing's getting past him there, yeah? Left-hand side, Emerson. Going to be defensive master. Midfield, Guaido and Alvarez.
Alvarez.
Nothing's getting past them. Then just tell the rest of the 4, attack! Made in heaven, mate. 2-0.
We score, but I 2-1 City. Being realistic.
There you go. There you go. This is what I want. 1-0 win, so check 93 minutes.
Off the bench. Dan's a bit serious, isn't he?
Right, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. It's 1 o'clock in the morning, and it is late. So thank you both for coming on. You haven't had a sip. You haven't had a sip.
Hey, listen, I come from the pub, mate. I'm coming down now. I've got to drink this, and I've got a serious drink in the tomorrow because I've got to go to Stanley. Then I've got to go to Wentworth, right? And then I've got to come back to Stratford, go to the O20 bar. Then I've got to go to the Eddie, right? Then I've got to go to the Carpenters, just say hello, right? I don't even know if I'm going to make the match.
You don't have to go to all those pubs, Ronnie. You don't have to.
Yeah, I do. I'm giving out balloons as well. Yeah, I'm giving out black balloons as well. So yeah,
I saw Paul before the Bournemouth game on Wednesday, and he was handing out the leaflets. By the way, people, that you know, it's still happening with regards to the season tickets. That's not over. You know, so still do. If you haven't signed the petition yet, still make sure you do that. But guys, really much appreciated. It's been a laugh, been interesting. And thank you so much for coming on. Much appreciated.
Come on, you Irons.
Thank you all for watching. It's really much appreciated. Like I said, I should have done it sooner. I forgot to do it. If you've not yet subscribed to the channel and you're new, this is your first time, please do become a subscriber. And thank you all for watching. Hit that like button. And we'll see you all soon. And we'll be celebrating. Next time I see you, we'll be celebrating a win against Man City. See you all soon.